we've covered a lot of topics today, and you and I have gone back and forth a bit. We have some similar points of view, some different ones. And I just want to ask you if after this conversation episode, has like any of your views changed towards partying? Are you not considering maybe I should go out more, maybe I should keep doing what I'm doing and not go out? What's your perspective still? Is it still the same? Is it different?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had this perspective for a pretty long time. I don't think it's changed much for me, but it could change, for example, for the viewer who
Yeah.
helps highlight some ideas for them that they can realize and things. But it's kind of analyzing your own situation and things. I think it's important to know where the boundaries are. Know the boundaries.
Yeah.
Set them. Whatever. If my friend invites me out for this one time, great. But other times, no. And also, that's an important part of this is like peer pressure and things. Happens a lot. First year students in university or whatever in high school. You know what I mean? Like the seniors come up to you and they're like, "Oh, let's do this, let's do this." Do that. Drink the whole cup. It creates a culture of kind of like almost like a tribalism, like where the new people always follow the others. And then when the others graduate, they become the new elders, and then they start telling kids to do what they want. And I don't think it's a really healthy thing in environments of universities and stuff. But that's my personal opinion. What do you think?
No, I see the thing the same way, and I would add as well that it is really important to learn how to say no and to stand by it. Not feel ashamed for saying no, that you don't want to go out, and then your friends make fun of you, and then you feel bad. Just stick with your no. Learning to say no is probably one of the biggest keys to being successful and in the long term. If you're a person that has ambition, has goals, you need to learn how to say no. You need to stand your ground, because you'll have a lot of distractions. You'll have a lot of friends that will try to distract you, bring you out to parties. Parties are distractions. You you just got to say no. You got to stay focused, keep on your path. And a lot of people, especially nowadays, you brought up a good point that I was thinking about it, and I didn't bring it up earlier. But you said that there are things that you do while partying. You could develop alcoholism and drug addictions and stuff like that. But a lot of people that I don't know if you've noticed, but you see a lot of young people around our age that walk around with cigarettes, e-cigs, and are always smoking.
Vaping.
And that comes from party culture, I think. They
Mhm.
try a cigarette while out with their friends, and then they get hooked on it after doing it a few times with their friends, and then they develop a habit that is really hard to quit.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
in long term, I feel like a lot of people will get repercussions from the decisions that they're making today.
for sure. I think you're talking about cigarettes, vaping, right? At least cigarettes isn't as prominent as it was before, but now the new trend is vaping, right? Where it's like
Oh yeah.
it's like if you don't go to a party and you don't vape, from personal experience, if you go to a party and don't vape, it's weird as hell. Like people are like, you don't vape, like it's kind of like, and then you ask them, but like, or you tell them like, oh, but I don't think it's healthy for you. Like I don't think it's good. It's like, oh, what are you talking about, man? Like there's scientific studies, whatever that vape is good for you. It's not, but whatever. Like, but it's a new trend and it's peer pressure. Like, come on, just take one whiff, and you're like, oh, everybody looks at me now and like I'm cool, and then you're like, oh, let me take a second one, and you start doing that, and you're like, oh, why don't I buy my own machine and whatever, and you kind of
Yeah.
go down. It's a really dangerous thing, right? And then you start buying from people, and then if you want to try to stop, people are like, "What? You're trying to stop? Like that's weird. Like why are you stopping now, man? Like what's wrong with you? Kind of that kind of peer pressure, situation. Yeah, it's
It,
quite common.
it's the peer pressure to follow the trends. I will personally tell you, I have no idea what the trends are nowadays. A lot of my friends sometimes talk about things, and sometimes I'm in the conversation. I'm like, really? You guys do that? Is that a thing now? Because I've been so focused on what I want to do and pursue with my life that stopped caring about the outside noise and outside peer pressure. I just don't care about peer pressure. It doesn't affect me anymore. Well, when I was younger, it used to affect me. You and I have known each other for a few years. You might have known this, and it affects everyone at some point in their lives. I think it's more especially when you're growing up And if you are able to break out of that chain where you learn to say no, stand your ground, and focus on your own thing and go a different path, then you will be good and you'll be better than, I would not say better than everyone else, but you'll be on a better path than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I agree with that. I think avoiding partying is definitely a benefit in your life, and you got to use that time that you're gaining with that to do something productive, because that's the next stage, right? If you don't party, but then you start spending that time hanging out with a bunch of drug dealers and things like that, then it's like, well, you're trading a bad for, you know, something even worse, right?
Worse.
So that's the precaution you have to have in this situation. So yeah.